Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to my channel, Nelly the Narcissist. Thank you so much for joining today. Now I get asked every single week, why is your channel called Nelly the Narcissist? I'm so confused. Are you a narcissist? This is weird. For those of you that have been with me since the start, you're going to know that I'm not a narcissist, but this channel actually started doing comedy skits to raise awareness about narcissistic abuse and to give survivors a much needed laugh and break from all of the heaviness.
I'm a narcissist. Look, you can't be. A narcissist would never say that they were a narcissist.
And Nelly the Narcissist, she is my character, she is the face of my channel, and she is my motif. I will be linking a playlist down below where you can click and you can watch all of my comedy skits. And I'm going to leave a card in the top corner of this video that is going to send you directly to a comedy skit that I think is very aligned to the topic that we're going to be discussing in today's video. So in this podcast today, I'd actually like to speak about the tragedy for the narcissist. And really what I see is the tragedy of narcissism in general and how it's actually incredibly paradoxical. And I'm coming in all of my videos from my own perspective as an empath and survivor, and I'm basing my opinion on having been very close to a malignant narcissist. And through this close contact, I gained the opportunity of exploring the dark internal landscape of such an individual. And you do kind of need to get that close in order to understand it. But there's always a risk when you are that close, because the darkness that resides within some narcissists is very strong and overpowering. And just like, a black hole in space, it can suck you into it. And you can get completely lost and even obliterated if you're not careful. It's like flying very close to the sun. And I've walked that line, and I have been scorched quite a few times. But every trip that I made, I pulled information out that was very much needed. And today, it's about looking at the paradox of narcissism and its tragedy, really, for everybody involved in that shit show. So if you appreciate this video, then please do like it, share it with anybody that you think that it might help, and also, if it resonates, comment your thoughts down below. So first of all, the biggest tragedy for the narcissist and, the paradox of their existence is that they hate people, they hate you, but they need people and they need you. Through their ego delusions, they've actually cut themselves apart from the rest of humanity. And they've rejected people. The narcissist seriously, in their mind, thinks, you're all scum. You are so inferior to me. You cannot compare. In fact, every single day, I'm going to give you the evidence to prove to you just how inferior you are in comparison to me. And yet, damn it, these imbeciles, I need them. I can't live without them. And the narcissist thinks, I so wish that I could sustain myself, but I cannot. It's not possible for me to hold up my narcissism by myself. I can't feel superior on my own without having people around me to make me feel superior, either through their admiration and attention or through my devaluing of them and my trashing, which brings them down and brings me up. They need the fuel, and the commodity that they need is found in the people that they feel are deeply inferior to them. And yet they've got no choice in their minds other than to degrade themselves every day to get their needs met. They feel like they're degrading themselves, and that we should be very blessed to have the honor of their presence in time. And even their abuse and exploitation, they see it like a visit from a queen or king. The narcissism has convinced them that nobody is truly worthy. But what are they going to do? They'd absolutely love to be able to live alone, but then they're not going to get their narcissistic supply. And I've seen this driving narcissists absolutely insane, and covert narcissists very aggressive because, of how they feel and how their lives are, and they don't match. They believe people should just fall at their feet. And yet so many times, in order to get their narcissistic supply needs met, they're often forced to fall at other people's feet. So can you imagine how this feels? A king or a queen, that's forced to be a servant, that's how they feel when they have to give to somebody else, or when even they have to be nice in their superficial connections. Narcissists actually do so much better in superficial connections, where they can swoop in with their mask and keep it shiny and swoop out and it's still shiny. But when they swoop in and they stay for too long, the cracks on the surface start to show. The truth starts to emerge like a geyser or volcano or vomit. Sorry for the graphic and disgusting image, but it's true. They're keeping a lid on so much, but they've only got so much time and so much power before that lid blows off. And anyone that gets close to a narcissist sees this. The longer you stay and the closer that you are, basically, the worse it becomes. Narcissists, they treat superficial connections way better than those that are actually meant to be close to them. And even if they say that they never want to speak to you again, and even if they discard you, and they tell everybody you're no longer liked, the narcissist needs supply. And so they're driven to contact you anyway, or reach out to those that they really swore that they were done with. They need supply, and they need to remain in control. They don't like people getting away because you had something that they needed, and they don't make prisoners of everybody. The thing, that I thought many times about the relationship I had with a narcissist that's glaringly obvious to everybody, apart from the narcissist, is narcissists are always shocked when you won't take the abuse and when you leave them. And it's you that actually has every reason to hate them and be livid about what you went through. And yet it's them, the narcissist, that is livid at you. And that's their grandiosity as the MPD. How dare you leave me? How dare you say no to my abuse? Who the hell do you think you are? Have you literally forgotten who's the mistress or master? Do you need me to remind you? Actually, no, get away from me. I don't need you. I don't need you. You're bad. You're bad supply. I'll find better because I can do much better than you. And then they go off into the night and they try to find other people to satiate their hunger with. But it's not easy finding good supply. And even with great supply, as I'm sure you were in most cases, the narcissist always devalues you and thinks that they can do better and jumps ship to newbies. But we were all newbies at one stage. New supply grows old. Everybody gets sucked dry and devoured by the narcissist. And then the narcissist often returns to old supplies that they swore that they were done with, that they never wanted to talk to again, when they realize either that they had something of irreplaceable value and they want to re-idolize you, to later obviously then repeat the same devaluation cycle, or when they just need a quick and temporary supply hit. Whatever the case may be, one thing's for sure, whenever I get to talking about this topic, I feel absolutely exhausted. I feel how exhausting it must be to live as a narcissist that's addicted to supply, that would never admit to being an addict, because that then would show that they're dependent on something outside of themselves. And that would be an insult to their narcissism. So what I would also like to talk about now is the tragedy that you may feel as somebody that really loves or loved a narcissist, and how this also relates to the crazy ridiculousness and delusion of narcissism that narcissists are always too blind to see. Narcissists need supply, as I said. They're very dependent, actually. I'd go as far as saying completely dependent on certain people's supply, but they can rarely keep the people that they need, that provide it in their lives, because they end up pushing them away through their degradation, their devaluation, abuse, and even their wish to kill the supply sources that they need for their creature survival. Supply is the air that they breathe, and so you would think that they would respect their oxygen a lot more, but they always forget. Always. There's never ever a time that they don't, and they're going to recognize temporarily when you've gone. That will create a reaction usually to win your supply back. But no matter how much they try, even if they had you again in their grasp, they devalue you again, and they forget all of the things that you give and minimize you to a nothing. So they say, come here, I want you, but then go away, I don't need you. But they do need you most of the time. And I know many people, including myself, that gave our all, that made many sacrifices because we thought that was what love does. We were loyal and we helped as much as anybody could. But nothing would have been valued by them. And we would have, had everything not only thrown back in our faces, but stomped upon with filthy shoes, cut up with a knife, no respect or value for you would have been shown. And in some worst cases, people literally had to run for their lives to get away from the person that they loved and were loyal to, because they were an extreme danger to them. And there's no logical sense in the narcissist brain. They need you. They don't want you to leave them unless it's on their terms, but they do everything to make you need to leave, often to save your own life. And sometimes, like I expressed, this isn't always on a physical level. You don't want to leave because of the love that you have, but they leave you no choice but to save your own life. Otherwise, you're going to be obliterated. And this is the craziness that I've often thought, because I don't see the narcissist doing very well at all. And I think you're somehow surprised and insulted that I don't want to be close to you anymore. And you see that as very much a me problem, an issue with my loyalty and my virtue, when in fact I was left with no choice other than to preserve and protect my own life and spiritual survival. And it's a painful choice because you love them, but they force you to choose yourself because the alternative is too grim. There's no alternative unless you're willing to go inside an early grave. So look at this, right? The narcissist needs you, but they're driving you towards the ground. And again, the superficial level of narcissistic relationships and interactions is perfectly fine. But when you come closer to them, you are inside the danger zone. The closer you get, the worse they become. The more that they need you, it seems the more that they want to delete you. Then, you escape before your deletion because you feel intuitively that you are in grave danger. Then the narcissist is so sad to have lost you, and you're devastated that you had to leave. And if you are anything like me, you look back and you think, it really didn't have to be that way. I can't tell you how many times I thought to myself, narcissists, you're crazy. You need us. You need supply. You need loyal people that love you, that truly love you. If you weren't so dreadfully abusive and exploitative, you would keep us for life. And in the narcissist's illusion, when you leave them, their minds say that you weren't loyal enough, and they feel hard done by because they expect blind loyalty and blind service. I actually believe that they probably feel similar to how a slave owner may have felt, that entitlement to keep slaves and to believe that they're on a higher level and that they have the power and they're entitled to treat their slave however they wish. And when there's an opportunity of a revolt, or when the slave has the possibility to kill their so-called master, and they do try or they revolt, the slave master is so confused because in their head they believe that they've given this person a chance of a better life and an honor. And I believe that's exactly how the narcissist feels. They do everything, absolutely everything, to make you need to leave them, because it's not always the case of wanting to. They literally make you need to leave them, and then they cry when you go. And if you return, they're surely going to finish the job off. The abuse will get worse. And yet they can't understand, why would you want to go? That's delusion. That's big time delusion. And so to a healthy mind, you're thinking, well, it didn't need to be that way. It really didn't need to be that way. If you just treated me with more respect and kindness and humanity, if you hadn't have been so evil and used me, I'd still be there loving you with all the loyalty in the world. And you would have gained my supply, maybe for life. But if it was that case, they wouldn't be a narcissist. And you may have seen this narcissist go on after you and be really struggling because they can't replace you. And they realize this. And they're struggling to find the things that you would have provided them. And they're in a worse position than they were when they were with you. And the crazy thing is, you're going to be getting the blame for that. They'll be speaking trash about you. In their minds, they're always going to be trashing you. How dare you leave? How dare you not be providing me with the things that I had? And now they're going to hate you even worse because they're suffering. And it makes no logical sense because you wouldn't have left them in the first place if there hadn't been a threat of KILL. If you're anything like me as an empath, we can feel quite sad for the narcissist because we see the way that they live and we see it as being so very pitiful. It's really pitiful. There are other ways and words that we can describe it, of course. Dangerous, deluded, deranged, repulsive, vile, sickening, disgusting, unbelievable, stupid, sad, and pitiful. I know what a demon that malignant narcissist is, and I'd never want to put myself in direct contact with that firing line again in the same way. I could never get close again how I did before. I could never be so naive again, because I remember the pain from keeping the naivety and for not coming out of the illusion sooner, with all of the feelings that I've ever found. And you do feel so many emotions. I can't stop being me, and therefore I do look upon the narcissist with pity and love. Sometimes I'm enraged still, when I think about what was done. And I suppose I'm more angry with myself for allowing it for so long. I'm so disgusted by the parasitical way that those psychopathic narcissists live their lives. I'm so disgusted at their willingness and pleasure often in exploiting others and deceiving them. And yet when I zoom out and I start to disengage with all of my feelings on a personal level of what was done to me, I look at them with pity and a sorrowful kind of love, because I know there is little to no hope of them ever getting better. Instead, they're damned to continue the cycles, because they can't and they won't come out of their delusion. That's it. Like that needle spinning on the record, the longer that record goes round in the same groove, the deeper that becomes ingrained. And it becomes who they are. And they just don't see, the culprit of their repeated tragedy is them. In the narcissist world, it's everybody else's fault. It's not theirs. But for the informed spectator that has their eyes opened and they're looking through the glass, observing the scene of the narcissist's life, this is playing out upon the stage as a great tragedy. They're so absorbed by their narcissism, and in my opinion, by their connection to darker spiritual energies, that they're lost and they're being devoured also. But you can't save them, because they won't come out of their absorption into their delusion, because the delusion has now shaped the basis of their identity. So it is all incredibly pitiful, in my opinion. It's tragic, really. They need you, but they're going to aim to destroy you. They'll lose you, and then they're likely to revalue you and pretend like, they never wished any harm and they never did you any harm, and they want you returned. But if you return, it gets even scarier. Then the more you do for them, the kinder you are, the closer you get, the more you try, to show your love, the more they expect in return for abuse and devaluation. But those superficial level connections, like I spoke about, people that they've only known for 5 minutes are placed on pedestals, and they can do no wrong in the narcissist's eyes. And it's those people that they choose to give their loyalty and attention to, albeit on a superficial level, over the ones that truly love them and the ones that truly have loyalty to them. It's an illogical way to go about life. It means that narcissists lose so many good people, and they turn around and they don't understand why. Why are these people leaving me? And they think that the weakness is with you and with everybody else. And this is the narcissistic mindset that makes sense to them. It's their grandiosity. They can look upon everyone else as being the problem. They will never, ever learn. We all basically have life lessons to learn. No matter how advanced, no matter how old we are, there's always things to learn. And it's really the position of the fall to not be able to see or accept this. But we can learn a lot from narcissists. It's basically life lesson 101. We learn how to live well through seeing how narcissists live so badly. And thank goodness we do have the power to self-reflect and to be outside of ourselves, to observe what's actually taking place. And we can choose to come out of the narcissist delusion, and we can say no to their abuse and to their abuse cycles. We don't have to be stuck on that merry-go-round with them. They're always on it. They're never coming off of it. But we can get off whenever we choose. Allow somebody else to get on that with them until the moment in time comes when they're going to be going all round by themselves and they're going to be wondering, where did everybody go? What happened? What went wrong? But you see, their delusion stops them from the self-reflection most necessary to actually come to the conclusion, maybe it was me. So this was everything that I wanted to say in today's video, and I hope it's been helpful. If it's resonated, then please do leave me a comment below. And coming up right now, if you've enjoyed this, I have another podcast that you might find helpful. For now, thanks so much for watching. Take care, sending love, and I'll see you all again next week.